Okay, welcome to first of two classes on Itsutsu no Kata. We have a small but mighty group here today, so it should be fun. Itsutsu no Kata, forms of five. It is an abstract and little known kata. There's only five techniques. It doesn't, there's not much to go through, strictly speaking on technique-wise, but the ideas behind it are a bit more abstract than other typical katas, and so it's harder to get a grasp on. And not many people have spent long studying it. I myself have only started last few years when my kata partner Kelly Palmer was going for his Rokudan. And even in those few years, I've studied it more than most people in Canada. So that said, everything I'm saying is, as I'm building it up, there's a lot more studying to be done, especially by me. All right, so I will do my best. One of the things that makes it tricky, I've looked at a few Kodokan videos. They start with a little talk, usually, and they talk about artistic expression, which is usually not something we really bring up while we're doing kata. We're talking about showing a technique. These techniques are supposed to represent forces in nature, to the best of my understanding. So we will use words like uke, tori, attacker, defense, because that's just how we talk normally in judo. But it's not really how the techniques work. These are fundamental forces behind judo. So we're being natural entities or bodies in nature. And we show those principles of nature and why it makes our judo work after. So that sounds a little lofty, but as we go through, we'll be going through images, and the images really help get a solid notion of what's going on in the techniques. It's much, much better than just say, memorizing the steps, because memorizing the steps won't really get you to know what this kata is about. Whereas the other ones, oh yeah, now I do Ippon Seonage. Now I do Wakigatami. It's clear, you just remember, yeah, that's what I'm doing. It makes sense. Not quite so. And so the other thing that will make this a bit different from other katas is we have an uke and a tori. They're combative forces. They're kind of working against each other. One's, I'm trying to hurt you, and the other one's like, no, you can't. This one, you're going to be trying to be in harmony throughout the kata. You are working together. You are two parts of the same great universe that we're in. So that's what's coming. Like I said, there's only five techniques, and we'll go over it. There'll be lots of water imagery, so lots of flowing and things like that. But all techniques and all judo things, we will be using our bodies and moving. So we're going to just do a quick warm up, get loose, and quick stretches so we can do this, and then we'll get into the techniques. So koshi, trunks. The idea is moving around. So we're just going to get regular kumikata. We'll have tori, the driver, and then uke is just going along. The idea for tori is to move around and hit everywhere in the dojo. Just move around. Uke, your job is to stay right in front of tori and not hinder tori's movement at all. But you have to do it with your eyes closed. Okay, so you be tori for a moment. So you get to open your eyes, I'll close my eyes. So as you move, you can go sideways, moving around any way you want. Just by feel, I'm trying to stay right in front of tori at all times. Okay, tori, you're not trying to trip them up, you're just trying to go all over the place. If there was more teams, you would have another instruction to not hit any of the other teams as you did this. And uke was just to trust that tori would not slam them into anybody else. The main point of that is, like I said, a whole bunch of this kata is about flow and letting physics just take you where it's going to take you and trusting it to happen. And so that's the eyes closed, uke is following it, and basic things like that. There's also a number of Strange ukemi. One in particular is going to work. So we're going to do a couple ukemi drills just to make sure you're in the habit of thinking hard about your ukemi. So but just remember what we're doing. We're going to do the same roll, but we're going to start sideways. So now I'm in a line along where I'm going. My rolling arm is this way. But I still end up going towards this way. Sideways, simple kaiten. And those of you who like to think ahead, you might think, I know where this is going. We've done forward, we've done sideways. What's left? It's backwards. So we step back, we put out our arm just like it's about to do a Zimbo Kaiten. We end up rolling towards the camera here. One last one. This one's a lot easier just for fun. You're going to do just regular simple Kaiten, but this time I'll be laying in the middle. You have to do it over top of me. You have to click me as. Go ahead. Don't touch me. Keep going. Perfect. We'll start getting into the techniques here. Another thing that's kind of different in Itsutsu no Kata as opposed to other ones is naming conventions. Usually we talk about either what Tori is doing, like in Nage no Kata or Katame no Kata, we name the technique. And in other katas, we talk about how Uke is attacking Tori, like in the Goshin Jitsu or Kimi no Kata. This one has no such names. It is technique number 1, technique number 2, technique number 3, technique number 4, technique number 5. You all know the names of the techniques now. So in Japanese, Ichibanme, Nihanme, Stanbanme, Yanhanme, Gobanme. So that's all it is. And again, back to what I was saying, because they're not really techniques, they're just kind of things that happen. The opening ceremonies are just like any other katas with a ritsure that is standing. So just like Goshin Jitsu, like Juno Kata, standing bows, we do that meter step in. So that's the same. But once we step in, we stepped in the 1 meter. So 1 meter up from the tape, because before that, everything is standard. Actually, I'll switch you because we'll have the camera as Joseki, and that means right now he's in the position of Tori, and I'm in the position of Uke. Technique number 1, what we're representing is a small continual force overpowering a large, big force, okay, that inertia. And so the image you'll see in a lot of texts is that of a stone statue. That's what Uke is supposed to be, a stone statue. I'm not an attacker, I'm not a defender, I'm not a judoka, I am a stone statue. And you're like water, a river that will eventually crumble this rock through erosion. So Uke, the first steps is you walk up to center and you want to put as much weight into your base as possible because you are a statue. You need to have a solid grounding and you want to stand there. So as you walk up, you're being very heavy about things. Things flow because we're moving them. And then here, this is where I'm going to stand. Very heavy, as heavy as you can imagine. Okay, I'll trade you places now. Tori, as I said, is flowing river. I'm just slowly going to walk up, and as I do, my hand is coming up, and it's kind of like a Juno raise of the hand here. And I want it so that my hand comes up just as I'm meeting Uke in the center, and my palm is going to go center of the chest. I'm going to walk until our little toes are kind of crossed, so we're nearly shoulder to shoulder here. So it should end up looking here. Okay. What happens next is a series of rotations with the hand, back and forth. And I've often likened this to moving furniture, like if it was a fridge or a bookcase or a giant statue that happens to be in your house. You don't just Well, you kind of walk it. So that's what we're going to do. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And eventually, yeah, he starts to go. And I start to move him. Okay? As he starts to move, Tori will take 3 steps. It will be 1, 2, and then the final push forward. Okay? And you did a very excellent job. As you walk back, you just kind of, you move like a bookcase or a fridge or a statue. You just kind of wobble back. But, you know, statues don't have hips. They can't, they don't have any kind of motion. They don't bend. So you, here. Here. And it's very tricky not to anticipate. Just be solid and go when it is natural. Not a second before. I will slowly start building up pressure as we go. Good. And then I push. So that's fairly straightforward and easy. The really hard part is the ukemi. We mentioned it's a statue. That means it doesn't have knees to bend, to roll. They don't have hips. They don't have anything. You just fall your back. So all of your judo training on how to fall properly, we're getting rid of everything except for one thing. We're keeping the chin tucked at the chest because we don't want concussions for every time we do this kata. Okay? But it is basically falling back as straight as you can. I've watched a lot of videos. Everyone cheats a little bit, but the idea is to minimize your cheating as much as possible. So as little hip back as possible. You want to keep mostly straight, and then you land. And statues also don't lift. So you'll see a whole bunch of Kodokan videos. They go, don't lift your feet. So one of these things, oh, you don't get to do that. Statues can't lift their feet. Yeah. So landing flat. You can have a little bit of an arch, but that's just so you can stick the landing. Many sensei have talked about getting as much of you in contact to stick to the floor as possible. But here, doing that right out of the gate is very intimidating, so we're going to use crash mats. So to start, it's like the trust catch. You're seeing, whatever team building exercise. But now we're just trusting a very, very reliable crash mat. You want to fall back. Keep the chin tucked in, head up. You want to keep it, you want your feet to bounce up. Good. And if you feel like advancing it up, you can imagine being pushed back. So you kind of wobble back. And then at one point you hit the crash mat. Just try not to land butt first. So even if you end up cheating a little bit, your hips go back, try to land back first instead of on your butt first. This is by far the scariest part of the entire kata. I think it's the scariest part of any kata. Which is why most people who do this are too old to do things properly, so they just let it slide and they get to cheat. But yeah, this is the goal. No, they're in their 80s. You're not quite there yet. One last thought for Tori. Tori is flowing water. Flowing water does not increase in power, doesn't decrease in power, whether or not something's in front of it. It just flows. So my motion, my energy, my force in my movement should be consistent throughout this entire thing. I'm walking with this much power. I get in here, I meet an obstruction, I'm pushing with that same amount of power. As I go, you don't have to fall. I'm going with the same amount. It's consistent, just like water or any other moving object in nature, okay? This will come up later. there's a concept in a couple of texts called munen muso, means no mind. There's no thoughts of ambitions, self-preservation, or desired consequences. You're just letting things happen. And so I'm just going forward. And you're just a statue and you just fall. And that's what's going to happen. So to practice, you can either cheat for the ukemi, kind of like for uranagi and nage, you sit down and roll as opposed to the big suplex. Valid if you want to do a cheat one. Or you can practice with a crash mat. But I don't want you to try doing that right off the bat on the first class. Okay? So what's really cool, if you go to the 1 meter in spot, no, you. If you put this kind of right behind you, that's about where you'll back up to for the third step, and so it'll be in the right spot, roughly. So first, uke walks up, very heavy, weight as low as you can, sturdy here, standing about center. And this is where it gets kind of weird. You are solid and stiff, not because you want to be solid and stiff, but because you are solid and stiff, just like a rock. Rocks don't try to be hard, they just are. Slowly raising, a bit too soon because you want it to get there just as you do, crossing little toes, good. And push, good. And so your first step will be, it's right, left, right. And that way the final push is your right hand and your right foot going together. And you think of trajectory. So as you go, your hand will come down a bit because it's kind of, going over this edge that the rock was blocking previously, but going down. Okay, again. Good. So back, just a couple things for uke. I'll get you back up a little bit. Yeah. As in most katas, I think there's only one thing where you go right foot first, but this one, we lead left, so left foot in. And then I mentioned earlier, we don't want to help too much. So, you know, as a kata person, it's like, I know I'm supposed to do this and back up, and I start doing that with them to help them. Stone has no intentions whatever. I just sit here and I let him push me. And so you want to feel it, and not like right now I don't have a tori, so I have to do it myself. But if I have one, if he does a weak job, I'm just going to stay here till it's like, I have to. Okay? And it should be because you have no choice. You're not trying to stay standing, because the statue wouldn't do that. You're not trying to go back. You're just reacting to the force. And that's a very difficult thing to do, to have no intention in your movements. Flowing river that never stops, so your hand should already up and there, and everything's going. And so it'll be right, left, right. And that was your only 3 steps. Only 3 steps. Raising the hand, so it gets there just as you arrive. Slowly overcomes the inertia of the standing object. And you went left, right, left again, and it should be right, left, right. Well, this is one instance. Like you started left there, but over here it will be right, left, right. Okay. Okay. And so with yours, if you be okay for a moment, you only get to step when uke's out of the way. So you started to step before you moved, but at this point, there's no reason for me to keep on going. I'm not allowed to. There's something in my way. It's not until, I have to. So you moving forward is not an intention. It's, I started doing this, I started going this way, flowing, and then there was an obstruction. And I can't go until this obstruction goes. And then I keep on my merry way. And it's just following the nature of water going through a river, encountering a rock. And, so each push is another ripple of water going through over and over until it finally pushes it through. Okay. Technique number 2, again, has a strange ukemi, and we're going to start with that. It looks kind of like Zempo Kaiten. The difference is instead of going over the shoulder, it's over the side. So it's a lateral roll. And one of the tricks is the outside leg, you kind of want to sweep it in as big a circle as you can. And so we start from here. With my right foot forward, my left foot going to sweep behind me this way. I do my kemi, and instead of rolling backwards, like we would do like in a koho, sideways and roll to the side this way. And that is very tricky because we do so many drills that do us the exact opposite. We want to go over our shoulders all the time in judo. So combating that, I have not yet mastered it, still practicing, but we want to sweep around over the side. There's not much more to it. It's simple, but difficult. Remember, sweep that leg behind you as far as you can. Right foot forward. Left leg sweeps towards Joseki, and then over the side. Oh, that's very, very good. So the foot that's sweeping back, try to sweep that circle all the way around, like you're doing the biggest ouchigari of your life. Always in contact with the mat. Now, a quick little drill for Tori's part. Tori's move is basically tai sabaki and deflection. So uke, all you're going to do is step forward and try to run Tori through the stomach with a blade hand this way. Okay. What I want Tori to practice doing, go ahead. Get out of the way. What's really important is this is not pulling. Not pulling. This is getting out of the way and deflecting. It's this way. That big arc that your left leg was going around in, I'm being the center of that circle. So that big foot, the big toe circle way up there, little hand circle there. And so this is all about that Seiryoku Zenyo, maximum efficiency, use of power. I don't have to put an effort. Hang out of the way and directing that big thrust to the outside. The right hand goes inside the elbow. This way. All right. So uke stabs at Tori's abdomen. Tori does a simple tai sabaki and deflects around. And really try to be the center of a circle. Imagine a hammer throw or a record player. Right now your arms are going straight back, like you're pulling around. So right now, with your hands, I'm getting out of the way. It's going that way. We don't want this. Around. Around. Yeah, so as he comes around, your whole body is going around that circle. You are the center point of the record. He's the outside of the record. There, that looked better. I saw his foot naturally going out that way. Full technique. Okay, it's not high. Just motion right around. Yep. Yeah, nice and wide. That was very good. So, in some ways, this is the simplest one because it's the closest thing to an actual judo technique that we're going to do in the whole kata. But I don't know, I like diving deep into things. And And this is a purely a West conjecture. This is what I haven't seen. But everything else is about how nature moves. It doesn't seem to make sense to me to have just a regular judo technique in the middle of it. And so fluid dynamics and things, if you look at, say, something like a leaf in wind, it hits, and just before it pushes, it kind of moves out of the way. All right, and then the wind goes right back. And so we're just spinning. There's no intention to throw. Wind just goes this way. Oh, I was deflected. That means I roll that way. And that's the way it should feel. It just, this is where you end up. So after the first technique, Tori, is done 1, 2, 3 steps. And we'll stand back here. About center, about 2 meters from the outside, roughly. Uke should then about here. And I'm sitting up as Tori is stepping back to, or Tori standing back to square as I sit up. You're working in harmony. It should be together. My left foot stays where it is. I come here, ready to strike. Okay? And then I do that exact same thing. That drive in. Tori does nothing different, exactly what we just practiced. But then Uke does that ukemi that we practiced earlier, all the way around. So for Uke, we'll get to the arm spread thing later, but just know that you're going to have to end up like that. And more sideways. And try to stay as low as possible. Like I said, I'm working on it. I don't know how low I was, but you want to make that as low lateral roll as possible. But yeah, after this, after he's gone, as Gord says, Tori will drop. And so you're kind of mirroring each other. So you'll both have your inside knee down, arms out, ready to go like this. This way. So you've just fallen down as a statue. You be in a little bit. You wouldn't be outside the 8x8. You're just inside. There you go. And your hand is still out because you just pushed him. Your leg back down, please. You still pushed him. So your hand is here, forward, down. As he sits up, you go back to square. Good. Yeah. That foot doesn't move. This one kind of comes back. It's still in front of you. That's why you can't get up. You need to pull the foot back. So I do it facing you. That tucks through. There you go. That's it. And from here, we're already primed up to strike. And as we take this step forward, we lunge. Just get to the kneeling position. Left foot forward, left knee back, and you step here. Yep. Lunge forward and step and around. Good. Excellent. So the motion is just out that way. So after square, you only get one step through the whole technique, and that is this going down and then straight into the kneeling. And that's the only motion you get. You're watching, backing up, backing up. For yours, you're going down on your knee when you're trying to roll. Just don't put your knee in your way, and you should roll out smoother. Yeah. So you're starting to see the complexity. One, it's the motions, but then keeping all the other stuff in mind, like, having no intention, just letting things happen. And you're supposed to keep that in mind while you're doing all these weird motions that are very counter to everything we've ever done in judo. But you can see that when he did it, there was that nice flow of motion, and he just kind of went around. And that's kind of using other people's motions to help them along. That's what informs our judo. So you can see, like, these are techniques are used to demonstrate what's behind all of our judo techniques, what makes them work. And so that's what makes it pretty darn cool, in my humble opinion. Okay, technique number 3. This one, it's not tricky, but it is technically difficult to pull off. So it's kind of the opposite of the other ones. The other ones, they're very simple things. You just step and do this, but they're technically difficult. This one, yeah. Anyways, number 3, we had like statue, we had leaf and wind. This one is kind of a whirlpool, all right? Flowing around, or a cyclone, tornado, pulling in, okay? When we last left our heroes, we were kind of mirror images each other, okay? We had our arms out here. I'm looking at this corner. Uke is looking at the opposite one. And what we want to be is be water in the same whirlpool. So we need to swirl around, come in. Remember those things you put the coin in and it goes, oh, we're 2 sides of that. We want to make this as symmetrical and as harmonious as possible as we do it. So that takes a lot of practice, getting to know your partner, how wide and how fast you're moving. But just like that coin, it appears to get faster as you get in. This is what should be happening to you as you get closer to and then we'll meet in the center. The hand thing. So as we're getting up, I kind of lean over this foot so I can easily rise, and I slowly ascend up to standing. My hands are out, fingers spread. Lots of texts talk about being like a bird. The IGF rules talk about being like a phoenix. Whatever image works for you. You're coming up here. And if you're not quite 90 degrees as you come up, that's okay. But by the time you take your 4th step, you should be about T-shaped with your arms in relation to your body. And we're moving around here. And if things are synced up well, I should be going across center this way at the same time as Uke is crossing that way. And as we go, our circles get smaller, just like a whirlpool. And again, as I cross this axis, Uke should be stepping across the axis at the same time. And I keep on rounding, and here we lock up. And we'll get over that in a little second. Corey will do one more tiny little turn here. And it ends up being similar-ish to Yoko Akari. You just got thrown by technique number 2. Out here, lean over your front foot. We come slowly up. We won't be stepping in sync. Getting up to about 90 degrees, T-shape. Crossing about here, good. Starting to close the circle, Starting to speed up a little bit. Close the circle, And then about here, we should be in. The lockup. We want Joseki to be on Tori's left-ish. This whole thing is my left side, so I don't have to be exactly like this. This is fine, it's still on my left. Because that's the nature of a whirlpool, we're spinning. I want to put pressure down and kind of back, and he's going to do down, kind of back with his up arm, and this kind of locks us together. The water is now moving as one. It should be, that connection is being implied the entire time, but now we can really feel it going around this way. And so when I do that last turn, I do my throw, that is going to be my grip for the throw. All right. So at the last bit, what I do is I play back this way. And I'm not quite directly, I'm definitely not all the way far, I'm just slightly off this way. And Uke's reaction is to do just a normal Zempo Kaiten directly towards that corner. You'll often see a cheat where Tori's hand will cup, and we're trying to throw him this way. It's definitely a cheat. Definitely everybody does it. If you happen to do it, I'm not going to stress it. But what we're trying to do is lock this in so I don't need to. If you have good tension between your arms, you won't need it. If you're missized like I am with Kelly Palmer, basically I go into iron and he just kind of hangs off me. He's not going to resist me. I just push him down if we did do straight resistance. And so I go like this and he just hangs off with me and I go. But if you're about the same size, it should be equal tension. Yeah. And so that's the main idea. The easy pitfall, other than that cheat, the other thing you see quite often is people will cut part of the smaller circles out. So as they're walking in, they get to this point here and they're, oh, I'm supposed to be in the center. And then they just kind of go in here. Remember, no intentions, no ideas of what you want to have happen. You're just spiraling in. So it is more important, in my humble opinion, that you maintain that circle. Because if you do this well, you can have a long discussion with Gord about centrifugal force and whatnot, but you will feel like you're being flung out. It's not because Tori's doing a big thing. It's just that spinning that Tori ends up in the center of, and you get flung out if you do it right, which is very hard to do, and so you'll probably cheat. But that's what we're aiming for. Any questions on number 3? This, like I said, it's tough to do because people don't think in circles in our culture. We have straight lines everywhere. And it's very difficult for us to do circular motions, especially when we try to do anything else. So like, now it's time to lock up, and people will go straight. Try to maintain that circle. And then as much as you can, try to be in sync as you get up and walk around to the outside of the whirlpool and then close in. Palms will be facing forward. There we go. We should be getting closer, closer, closer. So I should have stressed for the link up. Left hands are on top, right hands are underneath. And that way, we're locked in. It's symmetrical. And really, there is no difference between uke and tori until the last little spin. And that's critical to, like, that's a critical thing through the whole kata. You're just in harmony. You're not different things. You're part of the same nature. And it's only just at the last end, oh, I happen to be the water that's in the middle. You happen to be the outer circle, and you get flung out. So one last little spin. Keep going in the direction that you're whirlpooling. And then your feet, you're going to step kind of to the side here. It's like step towards me beside uke. There we go. And then lay back. Yeah. So, tricky things. One, we stopped. And that makes it very difficult because it's all about that building momentum. And it's just like stopping a throw halfway. All right, I got him locked up. Okay, and stop. Okay, keep on going. Very difficult. We wanted to keep that going. For tori, we're coming in here. We want to make that this way. Okay. And while you're getting used to that, by all means, cheat. Just know that eventually we want to train out of it. So start coming in a little bit harder than you did last time because we're too far away to start. Coming in, coming in. A little bit more, good. Coming in. Try not to stop, keep on going, turn. No, you keep going in the same direction. Nothing stops the whirl. And then for uke, as he goes, you just kind of bring this foot about to his belt. And you kind of do a seat belt direction, from belt to shoulder. And that should get you right to the corner. I mean, basically. All right. As I do this last little bit here, my feet end up kind of beside ukes. Here. And so when I go down, so again, we want to move like water. We want to flow as much as possible. This is not about, you know, hands here, hands back, hands up, walk forward. Flowing, building, wave action. Hands are going to come up, flow back. Our right foot comes back. We lower ourselves over the weight of our back foot. We bring ourselves forward. Start slow. We start to speed up. We get past uke, and then crash up on the waves, up on our toes, and come back down. Then undertow, we go back out to the ocean, and we're just going to walk back like this. And much like the water in first technique, there's a bit of a slow when we encounter an obstruction, which is uke. But this time we don't stop. We just overcome it. Okay? So, if I get you to be uke, please. Just stand there. That's all you got to do. And as uke, what I like to think about is I'm being absorbed by the motion of tori. So I want to become an extension of his body. When tori moves, I as uke will move. So here. Go right back, really close here. Up. Sinking back on the heels, comes back, and it all flows here. And what I want is my elbow about the sternum here, and his body close to mine. Levers, if I'm out here, will not be very effective. I want it about here. If I do that, I will flow right here. Here. And I will stop about the center. Uke takes a couple of more shuffles back and just does a koho ukemi. This one is a lot easier than what we're used to. A couple more shifts and easy. Legs up. We get to do a normal koho ukemi. Of course, why would you take away your pushing arm? This is your pushing arm. Of course that stays up. Here, back. Here. So left knee and left arm will go down as uke goes past and does uke's ukemi. So we just start square and a little bit more forward because remember, he's like one diagonal from the corner, so you're one diagonal. We start the wave. Hands come up, they flow back, nice and low, forward, slow, slow, building up speed, coming just a little bit in front, and up on the toes when you crash. You come right up. You try to hold it, whoop, and then back down. And so you're maintaining the T. Good. So the trick is becoming one thing. Like you are now part of the tsunami wave. And tsunami waves are not checking to make sure that everything is apart with it. You're just walking back. It's very difficult. Up on the toes when you crash. There we go, and back down. A little bit slower, a little bit lower for our shorter ukes. And the other thing, much like the way in, think of the way back as building action. So we start off nice and slow, and it just builds as we get sucked back out to sea. And that should make things go a lot more smooth. Again, just like all the rest of them, they're deceptively simple. You see like, oh, all you have to do is walk back and fall down. Doing that together is a lot trickier than it seems. Last technique number 5. I've heard a few metaphors for all of them. This one is a bit more, I see less consistency. Lots of them have, it's a expression of jita kyo e, mutual benefit. So what will happen in number 5 is both Uke and Tori will be in opposite corners. They will run at each other. And at the last second, Tori will go down, Uke will go over to avoid mutual destruction. All right. You could also go back to fluid dynamics. You have that, buildup of, if you have a fast thing, you have a little bit of a vacuum, you get sucked underneath, and you got a rolling wave kind of thing happening. All kinds of things. But all that said, it's the most fun one there is. Tori. Well, after the last technique, we both stand up and we're about equidistant from center, but facing opposite corners. Then we both walk at the same time out towards a corner. And in an 8x8, we're going to end up roughly in that corner. If it was 10x10, we wouldn't quite make it to the corner. So we're going to get to about here. Here, we're going to enter jigotai, defensive posture. So we step forward and lower here. This is, right here is jigotai. Yeah? Nice and centered. And our arms we want as if we're holding a giant sphere. So I am holding a massive sphere. Imagine Atlas, but instead of on his back, he's holding the globe on his chest. Huge. Okay, here. And then we both turn towards the center. And this would all be synchronized. So we're both facing each other, both with our spheres, both nice and low, jigotai. Then we run at each other. We meet at the center. It's really important we know who Tori and Uke is, because we're doing different things at this point. Tori is going to be going low, Uke is going high. So what Tori does, keeping the sphere until the last possible second, here, going to push off and slide his feet direct away from Joseki and lay down with his head towards Joseki. Like baseball analogy is like sliding into a base. The tricky part is getting that rotation. So we'll just practice that a couple times because it's trickier than it sounds. And what we want to end up as, we want our belt about center. We'll end up facing a bit the way we came, straight, right in line with Joseki, hands crossed over our belts. So as we're going to try and slide into that position. Jigotai, holding the big sphere. Turn, running. Yeah, not bad. Belt about center. Uke. You've done the same thing. You started with your foot in this for jigotai. You've turned. You lock eyes and you start running at each other at the same time. As Tori goes down, you go forward. You kind of launch yourself. Much like that jumping Zempo Kaiten we did earlier, you just do a Zempo Kaiten over top. Okay? And so, Uke, we haven't seen before here, just run. So, what I suggest is we just make a quick little line. Everyone try Tori on their own first. So we'll just do a few rounds. Run, slide in, and try to get your head towards Joseki and your feet right towards Kano, and try to be as straight as possible. Give that. All right. So we didn't quite make it to center, and you have to keep that sphere right until you slide. So you started running. Oh, you'll have turns. All right. So if you look at your angle, you'll see your head still pointing where you came from. You need to come over so you're more in line straight with Joseki. And then the turn, there's no steps involved. You pivot on both balls of your feet. So you're this way, and your feet don't actually move from these spots until you start running. Got about 7 minutes here. Good. Okay. As you're running, I'm looking at that center tape, and I know that's where Tori is going to end up. So I'm aiming for my last step before my ukemi to be right before that. And that should put my foot just by his belt or his hip, about. And then just like before on number 3, I want to do the seat belt angle from his hip across to his shoulder, this way. So as I'm running, I'm turning around. I know that's where he's going to end up, and so I'm actually going to put my foot down just before he gets there, because this should be happening at the same time. He goes down as I go over, and then we just kind of go over. Again, you'll see lots of people cheat. Tori will go down way early, and then Uke will safely go over. You guys, whatever you feel safe with, make it as close as you can, but as you practice, you want it to be closer to being synced up. Okay, start walking towards the corner. Trying to keep in touch where everyone is. And stop. Jigo Tai. Holding the big sphere nice and low. Slowly pivot towards each other. You lock eyes and charge. Tori, go down. Uke, go over. Pivot, lock eyes, charge. All right, good. So as I said, first time out doing it, Tori's going down way early. That's fine, it's to be expected. But just know, like, at the end, it should be Uke is jumping as Tori's going down. It should be happening at the same time. And yeah, I remember I was working with someone else going for their grading, and their Uke was always waiting. And they could never learn to go. And so I was like, here, I'll be Uke. And I charged, and I just saw Tori's eyes go as big as dinner plates, because all of a sudden this massive person was charging at them. And I especially when you're learning, I think a little bit of fear will tell you that you're getting closer. So the next class, we will review all these things, because there's lots of little things that we haven't even gotten to. And the other thing we'll talk about is flowing them all together. Unlike other katas where we have that moment of zanshin, that you throw and you go, are you done? Yeah, you done? Okay, then we can continue. This all flows together. There's no real stop throughout the entire kata. So this is a team. We've got the All Japan Judo Championships. And yeah, they do a fairly good job. So like I said, opening ceremonies, just like a typical kata, bow to shomen, bow to your partner, big step in. Uke walks in like a statue. Big force. Tori walks up, places his hand, toe beside toe, slowly starts it. You don't even notice it at first until it builds up within Uke, and he's forced to stumble back. He goes back, very rigid. Immediately comes up into the abdomen stab and the side roll. And they don't stop there either. They just go straight into number 3, the whirlpool. Coming in, linking up in the center, another turn, the side, and a little bit of a cheat, but not bad. Goes to the far corner. Now the crashing wave, bringing everything back out to sea with us. Stay back. Slow, then building up speed, faster and faster until past Uke and crashes up against the shore. Blocked by the extra bit there. Come back. overcomes the inertia of the object, and then gets swept back into the ocean. Up immediately, and walking to their corners. Jigotai, pivot, charge. And back to your positions for the bow out. Same as every other kata. One step back, bow your partner, bow to shomen,